How's it going, guys? Randall, aka Shizukats here on the Tressa's Collectibles channel, and today we're going to be diving into the latest addition to Sword Art Online. This has been in Weiss Schwarz for many years now, and we are now getting the 10th anniversary celebration set for the 10th anniversary of the anime. Obviously, in the Japanese side of Weiss Schwarz, they did have the 10th anniversary set to celebrate the anniversary of the light novel, but this is going to be the anime 10th anniversary set. So for some of you guys, this is going to be a pretty big celebratory set, while for others it is going to be a bit of a boogeyman, as there are some very powerful cards that are going to be entering the competitive metagame with this set. But of course, there's going to be a lot of really nice artwork cards, and we get a really nice look at all of the cool things that Sword Art Online has brought over the last 10 years through all of its various seasons. Similar to the recently released Bang Dream 5th anniversary, this is going to be an anniversary trait set. So a lot of these cards are going to play self-contained within this set by itself, and you will be able to mix cards from the various arcs of Sword Art Online, such as the Alicization arcs, which normally center around the Fluctlight trait, and the older arcs that center around the Avatar and Net traits. But the backwards compatibility between some of these cards and some of the older cards that you might be used to sometimes will not exactly mesh very well. So I'll be trying to make a point to let you guys know which of the cards are playable, backwards compatible or not, and things like that as we go through our opening. So as far as how much we're opening, we're going to be going with the standard fare of 2 booster boxes. And before we get into that, of course, always have to give a nice mention to our case topper playmat, as these are the stitched edge variety that come with the sets that are not English originals. You will be getting 1 of these case topper playmats per case of 18 booster boxes. And this mat in particular looks very minimalistic compared to some of the other playmats that we have seen in previous sets, but I do think that this minimalist design looks really nice. It's really clean, and I'm a pretty big fan of just this like black and white design. So with that out of the way, let's get into our first booster box. Okay guys, as always, let's begin our first box opening with a quick rundown of what you can expect from this set as far as rarities and ratios go. So this is a 10 RR set, so you will be expecting 4 or 5 RRs per box. Could be either 4 or 5, but as this is a set that has every single card available as a foil, they have decided to go with 3 guaranteed foils in every booster box. And of those foils, you can also get an SP card, and there will be expected 3 SPs per case of 18 boxes. And there are also secret rares in the set. There are a couple of those, which you can expect to pull 1 of per master case of 2 cases. So hopefully we can pull one of those amazing SP or secret rares in our box. But first, let's get into our box topper promo. So we have for the level 3 Mito, she is an early play if your opponent has a level 3 or higher character. And while she's in your front row, all of your anniversary or progressive characters get 1500 power. So this is our first taste of that anniversary trait lock. And interestingly, they did decide to include cards that reference the progressive trait in this set. So we might be seeing some additional Sword Art cards down the line in a future set that comes back to that progressive trait. All right, let's get right into our first box. So we've got a lot of really interesting packages in this set that hopefully we'll get to take a look at. And our very first card is a very interesting one. It is a 2/2 Kirito 5500 backup. So this card has the cost of pay 2, reveal this card in your hand and put it on the bottom of your deck. Putting the counter on the bottom of your deck is a recent cost that has been appearing on a couple counters, and it actually allows the counter in question to be 1000 higher as far as the backup value than what it would normally be. So a normal 2/2 character backup would normally be 4,500 power. This one instead is 5,500. And they did recently, I guess at the time of this video being uploaded, it might not have necessarily been officially announced, but we know that the 1/1 Mito backup is going to be coming to English soon. And that card is a 1/1 3,000 backup that puts her on the bottom of your deck as cost. So that's going to be a very powerful card. Not so much this Kirito, but it's just nice to be in the know about that particular cost for backups. So let's continue. We have a 2/1 Mito, level 3 killer. 2/1 Lifa. We do have a few cards that support the Dark Territory archetype from Alicization that was introduced in Alicization Volume 2, I believe. Okay, here we have another progressive trait character with the level 1 Kirito. Level 2 Alice, or level 2 killer Alice. Here we have a very interesting level 3 that I'm actually just going to set aside, and we'll come back to this one later. And for our first rare, we have the 1/0 Mace user Lisbeth. So this is actually one of a few cards in this set that is a retrain of older cards. So for those of you who have been playing Sword Art ever since the beginning, you might recognize this art because it was used on a level 1 Asuna combo. And this one has the exact same name, Mace user Lisbeth. So between the old one and the new one, you can only run a total of 4 copies in your deck. And this one has a Climax combo with, I'm pretty sure this is the exact same door Climax as well. So the Climax combo says, on attack, you can choose one of your characters and give it the effect where when it gets front attacked, you can return it back to your hand. So this is something that we've seen on the 7 Deadly Sins Merlin level 1 combo. And here we have a Lisbeth with basically the same effect. And we have a Pants Climax for a new Shinon. But this card actually shares its art with a level 2 support that was in the original GGO Extra Booster, the Sword Art Online Volume 2 Extra Booster. All right, here we have, from our second pack, a very strong level 0 common, this Administrator. So this card has the effect where you can clock her from stage to look at up to 4 cards from the top of your deck and grab a level 1 or higher card from among them and add it to your hand. So it's kind of like a Fukajiro style effect, but instead of being on play, it is an act ability that clocks herself. So this one has the flexibility to use the effect during your own main phase without having to go -1 like you would with a Fukajiro, where normally you would have to like play over the Fukajiro with another character in order to use the effect. However, this obviously does come with the cost of having to hit yourself for 1 damage. But if that's a cost that you're willing to take, then this is a really strong card. And she also has, on play, you can level swap for free, which is also another really, really strong ability. Especially if you have some cards that require experience. Okay, next we have the level 2 Berkuli. This is another really strong card. So he has the ability where on play you get to choose one of your opponent's characters and shrink it by swapping it with a lower level character from your opponent's waiting room. In the past, we've seen cards with this profile that are just like on play, discard a card in order to do that. That would be on like a level 1 character, but this one is on a level 2. And as such, it does not have any cost. You just play the Berkuli and you shrink one of your opponent's characters. So another addition to Berkuli's suite of powerful level 2 cards, going with that anti-climax level 2 from the Alicization sets. Here we have our boy Klein, of course. We have a 1/1 Asuna Stock Adachi, another progressive trait card. And here we have an uncommon that we really hope YouTube doesn't ban us for. So this is a 2/1 backup that when you use the backup, you can pay 1 stock in order to salvage this card back. This is actually a card that I think is quite a strong consideration in certain anniversary Sword Art decks that like to play for the board at level 2. Decks such as the Yuna 3/2 that you can triple early play her, kind of similar to the Sora level 3 from Hololive. I think this is a pretty good card that you could try running in that deck. Also, because every single card in this set does come foil, individual foils are going to be much harder to find, and I feel like this card is going to end up being quite an expensive foil for those of you Asuna collectors. You have the level 0 Asuna and Kirito. This one has kind of a similar effect to the level 0 Bell from Danmachi, where you can bounce 2 characters back to your hand at the start of your opponent's attack phase, but unlike Bell, which has a cost of pay 1, clock yourself 1, this one is pay 2. So it's a little bit harder to use during the early game since you don't want to be using as much stock and you can afford to hit yourself for damage during the early game. All right, here we have a really interesting level 0 Yuki. She has the effect where you can pay 1 and put her standing into your memory to salvage 1 of 5 character cards. And those cards are Zeken Yuki, the level 3 Asuna from Alicization 2, the level 3 Asuna from Ordinal Scale, the new Asuna and Kirito, and the new Yuki level 1 combo. So what do all of these cards have in common? They are all character cards that climax combo with Mother's Rosario climax. So Mother's Rosario is a climax that has just been printed in new forms over and over and over again, and we're going to be seeing another one in this set, and this card can grab any of those Mother's Rosario combos from your waiting room and add it to your hand. So really, really cool card. We have level 1 Mito combo. So this is one of the experience cards that is in the anniversary sets. She has a climax combo that is identical to the level 1 Ryu from Danmachi and the level 1 Itsuki from Quince Volume 2, where if you have experience 2 or more, on attack you discard a card and look at up to 3 cards from the top of your deck, add up to 3 characters from among them, or the Game of Life or Death event. You get to add all of those cards to your hand. So multiple copies of this can really fill your hand really, really fast. And if you're looking to play a Mito-based strategy with cards from the progressive movies, this is definitely a good consideration for your level 1 combo. And as I said earlier, as one of the experience cards, you could potentially utilize the Administrator to secure that experience in order to fulfill the requirement for the climax combo. Okay, let's get into our next pack. We have level 0 Kayaba Akihiko. This is a level 0 that gains power times the 1,000 power times the number of your opponent's characters on play, and he has a pretty flavorful ability when he's placed on stage from hand. You choose one of your opponent's characters, and until the end of the turn, that card cannot be returned to the owner's hand or put into memory. So, of course, for those of you who remember that first episode of Sword Art Online, when Kayaba shows up in the floor 1 lobby and tells everybody, "You are stuck here. You cannot log out." This is basically the same concept, where you prevent your opponent's character from returning to hand or going to memory. So they are stuck right there on stage. Okay, here we have a level 0 Ordinal Scale Silica, Asuna, and Kirito. This one has a pretty interesting text box location, as we do have Silica down here in the bottom left corner. This is one of those cards where you have to have your opponent declare 0, 1, 2, or 3, and then you mill the top card. Those are not the most practical profiles, but they're definitely a lot of fun to use in your decks. Okay, moving on to our uncommons, we have the Death Gun level 1. This is actually a pretty nice niche pick, where when it's placed on stage from hand, you reveal the top card of your deck, and if it is an anniversary character, you get to give minus 6,000 to one of your opponent's front row characters. So it can be really good against certain high power profiles, or ones that really want to stay on the board to utilize their effect. For example, cards that have been targeted by the Mace user Lisbeth combo. Additionally, he has the effect where during this card's battle, when damage you receive is cancelled, you may return this card to your hand. As you guys probably know, we have some very strong opinions about that particular profile amongst the Tressa's Collectibles crew. It's not fun when your opponent cancels and gets to +1 for free, especially when it means that they get to minus 6k one of your characters again. Here we have, for our rare, a very strong level 3 option, the level 3 Argo. So she has both an on-play Musashi effect, she gains the Musashi ability until the end of the turn, but also has a choice climax combo where you can discard 2 to burn 3, And so you can leverage that Musashi effect on both a burn 3 as well as a soul attack swing for 3 or more. So you have a lot of chances to proc that Musashi ability. So if you're looking for a very aggressive late game, this Argo is going to be the one that you want to look for. And we're going to have an Argo-based deck, or a deck running the Argo Climax combo as a deck profile on the channel coming up soon, so keep on the lookout for that. Okay, here I have a 2/2 Misumi memory counter. Misumi being, of course, the IRL version of Mito, the new character that has been shown in the progressive movies. And so this is a pretty nice consideration for your decks if you're looking for a level 1 counter. Okay, next we have another card that has been retrained from one of the older Sword Art Online sets. So the original Black Swordsman Kirito was a level 3 Climax combo, whereas this one is a level 0. So this card has a very interesting first effect where at the beginning of your attack phase, you can choose one of your anniversary characters and move it to the center slot. So he turns one of your characters into a center runner. There are some pretty nice level 0s that you could combine this with in this set. So go ahead and give that a try for yourself. And his second ability is pay 1, rest 2 to salvage an anniversary character that's level X or lower. And X is the number of the World of Swords in your waiting room. And I do see our first foil behind the couple cards back, so we'll go ahead and take a look at that in a sec. We have level 2 Misumi Free Fresh. All right, let's take a look at what we have here. What rarity do we have? It is the level 3 Yuna, which is an SR. This is a very strong card to consider playing from the Anniversary set. She has a very similar playstyle to the level 3 Sora from Hololive, where you want to bring out a bunch of copies of this card and then minus soul your opponent's entire board. And I don't know if you guys can tell, maybe if I can get the right angle, but the foiling on this card is very nice. We do have all of those music notes in the background in the foil pattern. So this is a really, really nice pickup. Let's go ahead and get a sleeve on this real quick. Okay, so there's our first foil, Yuna. We still have 2 more to go. We have the level 1 Alice. I'm going to go ahead and put this one on the side as well. It doesn't have anything to do with this level 3, but we are going to want to come back to this in a bit. Okay. For our rare, we have the level 0 Asuna. So this is another really strong card that you're probably going to be seeing a lot of. She has the Hestia effect where you look through the top 3 cards of your deck for an event. And if you find one and add it to your hand, then you discard a card. Otherwise, this can basically just be a free mill 3, which makes this profile extremely strong. But this card also, on play, if you have another anniversary character already on stage, she gains 2,000 power until end of turn, making her attack for a massive 4k power. So really, really strong card. We have the level 0 Asuna that synergizes with the Aincrad level 1 event that we'll probably take a look at later. When you play a climax, you can clock yourself in order to salvage that event. Okay. And for our first double R of the box, we have GGO's Strongest Sniper Shinon. Those of you who have been following my content ever since I started posting on my own channel, you guys probably know that I am a Shinon fan, big fan of Shinon. I have a Shinon waifu deck, and she is best girl. And this card is a very powerful card. So she has Experience 2 during your turn. She gains 2k power, going from 4k up to 6k, making her a very serviceable attacker. She has a Helmet-esque effect, where you can discard a card and put her on the bottom of your deck to choose one character from your waiting room and salvage it. And then her third effect is similar to the level 1 Adam from Ruby, where on attack you can sacrifice one of your other anniversary characters, reveal the top card of your deck, and if it is an anniversary character, you get to put it into your hand. So she lets you use a character that has already attacked and is probably going to get reversed and sent to waiting room anyway next turn. You get to sacrifice that during your own turn and potentially get an extra card out of it. And so this is just a really, really strong card. Unfortunately, it's not the greatest addition to my Shinon waifu deck that runs a lot of old cards, as the Atom effect only hits on anniversary trait characters, but I can still utilize the other two effects, the experience plus 2k, as well as the helmet effect, since that one is not trait locked. Okay, next we have another retrain, Lifa's Pure Wish. This is a retrain of the level 3 Lifa from set 1. So this one has an early play condition of needing 2 or more of a specific Lifa, which we'll take a look at in a bit, in your waiting room. And then instead of having a global 1500 ability like the original, this one has the effect where once per turn, when you use an act ability, all of your characters get 2000 power until end of turn. So there are quite a few cards that have synergy with act abilities in this set. Unfortunately, the range of act abilities that are like really, really good to use is a lot more limited than in the Japanese side due to missing, obviously, the cards from the light novel 10th anniversary set. But, you know, what can you do? This is still a pretty strong card if you want to use an act-based strategy to really dominate the board with that extra power. And her last effect, on attack, you can discard 2 cards, deal 1 damage to your opponent. And for our rare, we have level 0 Yu-Gi-Oh! So this one has an effect where when he's placed on stage from hand, you choose one of your opponent's characters, and until the end of the opponent's next turn, that character cannot move, kind of similar to the level 0 Hestia from Danmachi. And then his other effect is when he's placed on stage from hand, you reveal the top card of your deck. If it's an anniversary character, he gets plus 2k until end of turn. Pretty simple card. Unfortunately, unlike the Hestia, he doesn't have that really powerful utility effect, instead just having a 2k buff to himself. So this one isn't really as popular of a card to use in decks. Okay, next we have the level 0 Suguha. So when this card becomes reversed in battle, you reveal the top card of your deck, and if it is a level 0 lower character, you put the revealed card into your hand. So there's actually another card from a previous Sword Art Online set, which is a level 0 Silica, that has the exact same effect. This one has an additional effect where once per turn, when you use an act ability, she gets +1 soul until end of turn, again playing into those act ability strategies. We're probably actually going to be featuring this card in an upcoming gameplay video, whether it's in the upcoming Sal block or the following gameplay block. We're not totally sure yet, but you guys should expect to see this card and a very, very funny deck with a ton of level 0s coming up at some point on the channel in the future. Okay, we have another retrain. I think this one actually might not have been a retrain, now that I think about it. I think there was actually a card that had the Yui, and then there was a separate card that had the Asuna. But I don't think they've ever had both of them on the same card, now that I think about it. But this one is just a pump 1k times soul. So kind of like a Shimakai-esque effect. All right. For our rare. Okay, here we go. Everyone's favorite level 2 Alice. This is a card that you should definitely expect to see a lot in the competitive scene coming up. So first, let's talk about the level 1 Alice. So this Alice is kind of similar to Peion and Pachin from Tokyo Revengers, where she has a brainstorm ability where you pay 1, reveal 3, and if within those 3 there was a copy of the level 2 Alice, you get to summon a level 2 Alice straight from your waiting room to stage, even if you're only at level 1. Additionally, on play, she can shuffle 2 anniversary characters back from the waiting room into the deck in order to give one of the opponent's front row characters -1000 till end of turn. This is a fantastic way to get those level 2 Alices back into your deck so that you can reveal them off the brainstorm. And her last effect, she is a global 500. The level 2 Alice gains 1000 power for each of your other anniversary characters, bringing her up to a maximum of 10,000 power on a full board, but with copies of the level 1 Alice Brainstorm on board, she reaches even higher. And her climax combo is with the Choice Climax. When you play the climax, if she is in your front row and you have a full board of anniversary characters, you get to salvage one character of any trait, as well as stock up to 1 anniversary character from your waiting room. And she can also salvage the Alicization event, which is a blue 1/1 event. So I remember when this card was first revealed on the JP side, a lot of people just kind of wrote off this combo as kind of a meme, but eventually it was figured out that you could very easily and consistently create deck states where you could be very consistently bringing out 2 or 3 of this every single game on your like third turn. And when you utilize the climax combo on the third turn with this full board setup, it's absolutely disgusting. You have a full board of like 11k Alices. You're getting like 6 stock and 3 hand, and you brought out the Alices without having to invest any hand in the first place since they're brought up by the Brainstorm, and it's absolutely disgusting. This is definitely the early game package that you're going to want to be looking out for in the competitive scene for sure. And a lot of decks and a lot of players are looking to adjust their decks with ways to combat this Alice, whether it's with level 2 killers or very strong level 2 options that can address the Alice. You really just want to have some sort of answer against this card. And the decks that do not have any ways to answer this level 2 are going to be at a pretty big disadvantage into the meta coming up. Pretty much the best way to combat the Alice, if you cannot directly contest the level 2s, is you just want to hit them for as much damage as possible. The last thing you want to do is give the Alice deck time to continue pressing the advantage since they have their Alices living due to just being so big. Here we have another retrain, level 2 Silica. This is a level 2 or lower memory bomb, which is not something that we really see a lot. And she has an on-play ability that says you reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's an anniversary character, you get to give one of your opponent's characters -1 level. So you can take their level 3 character, turn it into a level 2, crash this, and then send it to memory. So unlike an Adachi, where Adachis just hit any character that's higher than your opponent's level, this one does have like specific level requirements, which does kind of make it a little bit worse. So I'm not a huge fan of this card, but it is one that you could consider using. Okay, for our next double R, we have the level 0 Yui, which is a very powerful utility card. So she has on play, you can discard an anniversary character to draw a card, and on play and on death, she has a drop search effect. So you can use her effect twice to grab the specific cards that you need from your deck. Really, really nice card. And having the ability to drop search both on play and on death makes her a very flexible card. So that you are able to adjust on the fly based on like how much damage you take or something like that. Okay, for our rare, we have the level 2 Shinon Assist. This is a really funky card. She has a 2k assist to level 3 or higher, and she has a Brainstorm effect where you pay 1, rest 2 characters, and Brainstorm 4, and then you burn X, where X is the number of climaxes amongst the brainstormed cards. So this is a really interesting addition to the Fluctlight Alicization decks, actually, because this is a Fluctlight trait card. What I've seen some people doing is in decks that run the War of Underworld event, where you sacrifice your entire board and then deal like burn 1, burn 2, burn 3 on your opponent, what people will do is they will first, before they sack their whole board, they will like rest their entire board to use Shinon Brainstorm a bunch of times and try to deal some extra burn damage. So that's a really, really cool strategy if you want to continue running those Fluctlight based decks. Okay. Okay, we have a level 0 Yuki and Asuna. This card uses the arts from the Sword Art Online Extra Booster Volume 2, where they had the level 3 Yuki and level 3 Asuna. This one reuses the arts. So this card is really weird. So when this becomes reversed in battle, you can pay 1, discard an anniversary character, and put this into memory to look it up to 2 cards from the top of your deck, add 1 of them to your hand, and put the rest in the waiting room. And while this card is in memory, this card's name is also traded as the level 0 Asuna and Yuki from Alicization Volume 2. It's the one that you need in memory to use the level 3 Asuna Climax combo. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to have those cards on screen right now. So the reason I think that this card is really, really weirdly designed is that the level 3 that uses that level 0 Asuna and Yuki, it goes into a Fluctlight based deck because the Asuna is like Goddess Asuna Alicization. This card is not a Fluctlight character, and it requires discarding an anniversary character in order to use the effect. So even if you wanted to include this card in that in the deck that runs the Asuna level 3, all of the traits are just like super weird. And it's just like a really weird card to try to fit into that particular deck. But it's a card, and it treats itself as that level 0 in memory. So very interesting design choice. For our next double R, we have the level 1 Yuki. So I like to call this card Power Crept Emilia from ReZero. So Emilia had the Climax combo where on attack, if you had 3 or more other traded characters, you get to look at up to 4 cards from top of the deck, add a traded character from among them to your hand, and gain 1,000. This Yuki says, on attack, Climax combo, if you have 3 or more other anniversary characters, look at up to 5 cards from the top of your deck, and you can choose one anniversary character or Inherited Sword Technique, which is her level 2 event that allows you to salvage back the Mother's Rosario event. And she still gets 1,000 power. So while this card does have the avatar weapon traits from like the older Sword Art sets, the Climax combo looks for anniversary trait characters on stage and also looks for anniversary trait characters from the top 5. So unfortunately, this isn't exactly backwards compatible. And another thing that you can do with this Yuki is you could try to run this alongside the level 1 Yuki combo from the Volume 2 Extra Booster. The one thing that you do have to watch out for, though, if you do that, is that this Yuki does have the on-field condition of having 3 or more other anniversary characters, and obviously the original level 1 Yuki is not anniversary traits. So you do want to watch out those traits if you want to try to utilize both combos in the same deck. You have a interesting Climax swap where instead of paying 1 and discarding a Climax to salvage a Climax, you sack a character on stage in order to do the Climax swap. Okay, for our rare, we have a level 2 Asuna and Yui. This one can refund a stock on play if you play it into a full board. It can be played from hand without fulfilling color requirements, and on attack, you choose one of your other characters and give it a bunch of power until end of turn. Okay, no double R yet. Here we have System Alert, very interesting 3/5 event that gives 2 of your characters -2 soul across and free encore until end of turn. So this is kind of a similar profile to the 3/4 event that you guys might be familiar with from Fujimi Bunko. This one kind of does the same thing. Notable is that this card does actually look at Integrity Knight and Noble trait characters as well, so you could throw this into your older Alicization builds since it is not Alicization specific. For our rare, we have the 1/1 Alicization event. This one has the same effect as the anti-magic mask from That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, where you search your deck for an anniversary character, add it to hand, and put the event into your memory. And so there are some cards that do need the event in memory later on. And then also the level 2 Alice we looked at earlier can salvage the Alicization event. So if you're running a deck that utilizes the Alice alongside some of those characters that have that memory requirement, you are able to salvage that event. And it looks like we are coming on to our next foil. And this is really just the Yuna box. So we have the Ephemeral Memories Gold Bar Climax, which goes with our level 3 Yuna. Really nice. So let's go ahead and take a look at both of those together. All right, and we have one more foil left in our box to go. All right, for our rare, or not our rare, for a pretty strong uncommon, we have Sortiliana level 0. So this is a card that is honestly just a pretty solid card overall. She has the effect where, as an act ability, you can pay 1, shuffle 2 characters from your waiting room back into your deck, and put this card into waiting room. And you get to salvage any anniversary trait character. So this is a really, really nice, just on demand, I want to salvage something from my waiting room. You just kind of do it. And unlike drop salvage characters that normally take up a slot on board, this one sends herself to waiting room. So she cannot clean out your hand if you have like extra climaxes or unneeded cards in your hand, but she doesn't take up a slot on board, which is pretty nice. She also has an on-play effect where both players have to go down to 4 cards in memory. And also, because she does have an effect that shuffles cards back into the deck, she is also usable with that Alice package as another card to shuffle back Alice's into your deck to try to hit off your Brainstorm. So this is a really, really good card for not just the Alice deck, but just anniversary decks in general. And then we have level 0 Misumi. This one has this is an actual Fukujiro card where when she's placed on stage, or when she's placed into waiting room from stage, you can discard a card, look at top 4, add a level 1 or higher card to hand. There are some pretty nice events throughout Sword Art Online that you might want to be adding off of this effect. And then her other effect is once per turn, when you play an event, you choose one of your characters and give it +1 soul. Is it give one of your characters? I could have sworn it was she gets +1 soul, but I might be wrong. I didn't actually get a whole lot of use out of this card when I was playtesting with JP Anniversary. So I'm not 100% sure on that. We're gonna have a message on screen showing whether or not it is she gets a soul or whether you give a soul. Anyways, moving on to our next pack. We have another Act Synergy level 1 Mito. So once per turn, when you use an act ability, she gains on reverse, you can pay 1 salvage. This is a pretty interesting effect that you can utilize with counters. As a counter, would allow her to become higher than her battle opponent, and then you can use that pay 1 salvage to get a character back from your waiting room. Here we have the Inherited Sword technique that goes with our level 1 Yuki that allows you to salvage the Mother's Rosario event and give a character 2k. We have level 3 Shino, the IRL version of Shinon. And she has an early play condition of 4 or more anniversary. And on attack, you just do 2 trigger checks. So it's Twin Drive, but without having to pay 1 stock, which means that you are netting +1 stock. Pretty neat card. And for our rare, we have level 0 Yuki. She has an ability similar to Frederica from Beaufrey, where when she's reversed, you can look at up to 3 cards from the top of your deck, try to find a climax, and if you add a climax to your hand, you discard a card. And on play, she has a submarine effect, where if your opponent has exactly 1 character in their front row, and it is a cost 0, you get to send that character to waiting room on play. Alright. We have level 0 Elizabeth. She is a 1k assist to level 0s, and when you play a climax, you reveal the top card of your deck, and if that card is a level 0 or lower character, put it into your stock. Earlier, I mentioned that we are going to be featuring, at some point, a deck that utilizes a ton of level 0s with cards like the level 0 Suguha and this level 0 Elizabeth. So yeah, keep on the lookout for that, guys. We have the level 0 Yuna. This is the way that we're going to be bringing out our copies of the level 3 Yuna. So she has the effect where when you place the gold bar climax on the climax area, you can pay 1 and sack the Yuna to summon the 3/2 from your hand. And then when the 3/2 Yuna is placed on stage from hand or from deck, you can pay 1 to search for another copy and place it on stage. So you pay 1, sack this to summon this, pay 1 to summon another, pay 1 to summon another. And then you have 3 copies of Yuna on stage, all ready to use their minus soul climax combos. And in addition, she has once per turn when you use an act ability, you can give one of your characters 1,000 power. I think it's pretty interesting that we got 2 climaxes at the back in this pack, unless I did some weird stuff. Here we have the level 0 Asuna. This one goes with a level 0 double R Kirito. So this one actually goes with this package, so we'll go ahead and leave that one there, and we'll come back to that in a bit. Actually, we're going to need this here later too, so we'll go ahead and leave that there. As the level 3 Kirito is one of the cards that needs Alicization in memory. Okay. Here we have another retrain. Level 0 Silica. I believe this was originally a 2/1 or 2/2 Silica. So this card is actually quite strong. When this is placed on stage from hand, you perform the following action twice. You look at the top card of your deck, and you can either leave it there or send it to waiting room. And then when she attacks, if you do not have any back row characters, you can mill 1, and if that card was a level 0 or lower character, you get to summon it straight to stage in the back row. And so you can utilize her first effect to, like, look at the top card. Is it a level 0? No. Let's send it to waiting room. Look at the next one. Is it a level 0? No. Send that one to waiting room too. And then you give yourself a lot of chances to hit a level 0 off of her second effect and get a free +1. So really, really nice card. And honestly, just really strong for deck control as well. Just being able to control how many cards are in your deck. You can essentially make like 6-card artificial brainstorms out of this card by looking at the top 2 and like, these aren't climaxes. Let's send these to waiting room, and then you brainstorm. So really, really strong card. All right, for our rare, level 1 Mito, this is a gold bar. It's a gold bar support where it gives an effect to all of your characters that if they trigger a gold bar, they can you can draw a card and discard a card. So it allows you to filter those extra gold bars out of your hand. And she also has an on-attack Shimakai buff effect to buff your other characters. Okay, still have not hit our double R and our last foil. So unfortunately, I think that does mean that we only have 4 double Rs in this box. Here we have the level 1 Shinon combo that reuses the art from the Last Shot Shinon level 3. So this card has a Twin Drive Climax combo, or you get to choose one of your opponent's characters and shrink it. So you choose one of those effects on Climax placement, and this one does go with that Shinon Climax that we saw earlier that also reuses art from the Sword Art Extra Booster. Okay, and then we have for our rare, we have the level 3 Asuna and Kirito. This is one of the newest cards that Climax combos with Mother's Rosario. So she's on play. They have on play heal, and then a very interesting Climax combo where you have to on attack pay 3, discard 2, and then pray your opponent cancels. And if they cancel, then you mill 11 and deal 2 damage to your opponent X times, where X is the number of climaxes you milled within those 11 cards. So if they don't cancel the attack, you paid 3 and discarded 2 to do nothing, which is pretty sad. But if they do cancel, you potentially get like burn 2, burn 2, burn 2. Like the chance of seeing like 3 or 4 climaxes within 11 cards is pretty decent. So you could be doing a ton of damage if this goes off. With the cost being as high as it is, I'm personally not a fan of trying to play multiple of this Climax combo within a single turn. Especially since, because it's on cancel, once one of them cancels, it reduces the chances for the other one to cancel. So this is just kind of a weird card overall. I think that the main reason that you would want to run this card is if you're already running the Mother's Rosario Climax combo for the Yuki, because they share climaxes. That would be the main reason that I would want to try to run this combo. All right, let's see if this is the double R pack or the SR pack. And it is the double R pack. We have the level 3 Asuna early play. So this is another really strong card. So 4 more early play. If you have 4 more anniversary characters. On play, you can discard a card to heal to stock. And then she has everyone's favorite ability. During this card's battle, when damage you receive is canceled, you can return her back to your hand. So this is just so obnoxious, especially if your opponent is trying to remove this with like an Adachi effect. Or just like if your opponent is just trying to remove this in general, just having the ability to get an early play healer back into your hand to reuse is really silly. And the main weakness of this card is that her on-field power is a little bit low at only 9k, but if you can get her to survive into your opponent's turn, you might be getting a free healer back into your hand when your opponent attacks into her. All right, here we have the Climax Swapper. Is this actually the first one we pulled of this? So this is the Climax Swapper that you can utilize in the anniversary set. Just a standard Climax swap. On play, pay 1, discard Climax, salvage Climax, and on play 15. In the Japanese version, there is a blue Climax swap that we would prefer to run, but unfortunately, without the light novel 10th anniversary set, this is as good as it's gonna get. And it does kind of mess up the colors a little bit because red is probably not the preferred color. We would have probably preferred to have the blue one, but still, it's nice to have a Climax Swapper nonetheless. For our rare, we have a level 0 Silica. So this one has a similar effect to like the on-play Rico style effect, where on play, you discard a card and you salvage a character of a certain level or lower. Normally, with like a come to play Rico effect, it would be you reveal the top card of your deck and you salvage a character of equal or lower level than the revealed card. But this one looks for a specific level 3 Silica. You know what? We're actually going to leave this on the side as well. There's a specific double R Silica that you count the number of copies of in your waiting room. And you can salvage a character that is equal or lower than that number. All right, last pack. So this will be our foil. All right, right here. What do we got? Okay. Oh, it looks like, is this level 1 Alice Brainstorm, perhaps? Yes, it is, and that is a really nice pickup. I think a lot of people are going to be looking for both the level 1 Alice as well as the level 2 Alice foils in order to utilize for their Alice decks. So this is a really, really great pickup. Let's go ahead and get a sleeve on that. And then here we have the Aincrad event. Is this the first time we pulled this one? So this one has a similar kind of effect to a cigarettes effect or like a Kotsky event, but with a spin. So this one mills 4. It always mills 4. You cannot choose to mill less than 4. You count the number of cards with soul... Wait. You count the number of soul trigger icons amongst the milled cards, and then salvage a character of equal or lower level that has anniversary or progressive trait. So this is going to be one of the cards that we utilize in like the Alice deck to really mill through the deck a lot. And yeah, this is just a really interesting card overall. Speaking of soul triggers, here we have the level 1 Asana's Commanding Strength. This is another retrain of the level 3 Asana from the original Sword Art set. And this one is a climax combo with choice, where on attack, if you have a full board of anniversary trait characters, you can choose a anniversary character in your waiting room. You can either add it to hand or put it into stock. If you chose to put it into stock, the Asana gets plus 2,000 power until end of turn. And in addition, she gets 1,000 for each of... Yeah, she gets 1,000 power for each of your other anniversary trait characters. So on a full board, she goes up to 6,000 power. For our rare, we have level 3 Asana. All right, I know I said at the start that we are going to have a lot of packages in this particular set, and we're going to leave this Asana on the side because we're going to have to come back to this one as well later. So that concludes our first box. We're going to go ahead and clean up and come back with our second box. We still got quite a few cards to look at, so we'll be right back with those in a sec. All right, here we go, guys. Box number 2. Now we know that there are a lot of really great waifu choices in Sword Art Online. Go ahead and let us know down in the comment section who is your best girl in Sword Art Online. As I said earlier in the video, mine is Shinon, and if I remember correctly, Mike's is Asuna. So go ahead and let us know who's your favorite. Speaking of Asuna, we have her level 0 for our box topper. She has a pretty good act ability where you can put the top card of your stock into clock and rest her to salvage a level 1 or lower character from your waiting room. And her first effect is a pretty interesting one. It actually synergizes with another box topper promo, which is a level 2 Kirito. You put the Asuna underneath the Kirito as a marker in order to give it 1,000 power until end of turn. And it also procs an ability on the Kirito itself. Personally, I don't think it's exactly the greatest pair of cards that you'll want to be using in your decks, but it's definitely a pretty fun pair of cards. I think the Asuna is like pretty playable on her own though because of her second effect that can salvage a character. Oh, all right, we have our first foil already. Sneak peek is a blue card. What card is this? It is the Klein level 1. So this is one that we saw earlier. So he gains 1,500 for each of your for each character in your opponent's back row. So if your opponent has 2 back row, he goes up to 7k power. Okay, and for our rare, we have level 3 Argo that we already took a look at. And double R. Okay, now we're talking. This is probably going to be one of the best double Rs from the set. This level 0 Lifa. So she has the on-play, like come into play Rico effect, where on play you discard a card, reveal the top card of your deck, salvage a character of equal or lower level than the revealed card. And also on play, you can choose a card from your hand and put it into stock. This is a card that, when this came out in Japanese, the price was like so much lower than I thought it was going to be. Like, I think it was probably around like $7. And I was just like, there's no way this card is going to stay that low. And then later on, it went up to like 20 bucks. So this is a really, really strong card. Having the ability to change a card out of your hand while also potentially filtering cards out of your hand into stock is just really, really powerful. You can use that ability if you have just like way too much hand and you just want to convert it into more resources. It can also be used in combination with like an ability that pays stock in order to act as like a pseudo discard. There's a lot of really flexible stuff that you can do with this Lifa level 0, and it is a really, really strong double R, and definitely one that you're going to be wanting to look out for in your boxes. Okay, for our rare, we have the level 0 Silica. Okay. What do we have here? No double R or foil in this pack. For our rare, we have the level 1 Mito with the gold bar effect. Okay, no double R here. Here we have the level 3 Lisbeth stock swap. So she has an on-play effect where you can pay 1 and you choose one of 2 effects where you can either stock swap the opponent or you can give all of your characters 4,000 power until the end of the turn. So this is the 3rd stock swap? 4th stock swap that Sword Art has gotten. I think it's the 3rd for English and the 4th for JP, since they have one in the light novel 10th anniversary set. But yeah, just another stock swap to add to the mix. This one is in red, so you will have to accommodate a little bit of red if you want to try to play this one. All right, for rare, we have a level 0 Asuna and 2 climaxes at the back. All right, for our next double R, we pulled another copy of the level 1 Yuki. And for our rare, we have the level 1... this is just all the girls, basically. So this has a climax combo with the level 1 or lower stock soul, yeah. So the climax combo is on attack, you discard a card, and perform the following action twice. You mill 1 and salvage a character of equal or lower level than the level of the milled card. And once per turn when using an act ability, this gets 1500 power until end of turn. So with the stock soul climax, the power level of this card doesn't actually reach very high, only a maximum of 6k before any other boosts. One really funny thing about this card in particular is because of how all of the girls are framed in the art, and the fact that the effect text is actually quite long, they had to really shrink the text of this card, which I think is really, really funny. If we compare it to the card right next to it, it's just you can just tell the text on this one is a ton smaller, which I think is really funny. Okay, almost halfway through the box. And we have our next double R, which is the level 3 Kirito. So there is still one more Yu-Gi-Oh that I'm going to want to talk about this package with. So we'll hold off talking about this Kirito for now. I believe the Yu-Gi-Oh that we're looking for is a rare. It's a level 0 Yu-Gi-Oh. Oh. For our next double R, we have the Argo Brainstorm. So this is a really, really nice card. She has a tap self-salvage Brainstorm effect. Not trait locked, so you could run this in your older Sword Art Online decks, as she is an avatar trait character. Additionally, when you play a climax, you can give a character 1000 power, and as long as she's on stage, you do not need color in order to play any of your events. So this is really strong with some of the very powerful events in Sword Art Online, such as the anti-damage counters, as well as probably one of the most prominent events throughout all of Sword Art Online's time has been the Demonic Sword Graham. This is just a really strong card for stopping your opponent's counterplay. Being able to play those events without needing color is really, really strong. And so this Argo, definitely one of my favorite cards in the set. All right, and then for our rare, we have the Shinon Burn Brainstorm. All right, we only hit one foil so far. Let's see if we can find the... Yep, I do see a foil. I do see another foil. All right, what do we have here? Level 2 green, level 2 Mito. So this is the level 3 killer. Go ahead and sleeve that. And in addition, when during her battle, neither player can play backups, so you can use this to pretty easily eliminate one of your opponent's level 3 characters off of the board without giving your opponent a chance to counter. For a rare, we have the level 1 Mito combo that we saw earlier. All right, we got one more foil, guys. Can we pull something good? Can we pull something good? For a rare, we have the level 0 Yuki with that Frederica effect. Anything here? Oh, that is our last foil. That is our last foil. What do we have here? Level 3 yellow. I think this is the Asna level 3. Yep, and we did not pull the Mito that goes with this yet, as that is a double R. So we have not had a chance to talk about this card. Alright, for our rare, we have the level 3 Asna and Kirito. So we do potentially have one double R left, maybe. Maybe. It's not in this pack. For our rare, we pulled the level 3 Yuna combo. No double R here. For our rare, 2-1 Alice. Come on, one more double R. One more double R or level 0 Yu-Gi-Oh! I will take either one. No double R. Although we did pull another nice new level 0, which is the Aria of a Starless Night Kirito. You can pay 1 and rest him to choose one of your characters and give it Honorverse Salvage until end of turn. This is an ability that we've seen previously in Sword Art Online from On-Stage Silica. And his other effect is when you play a Climax, you give one of your characters 1,000 power until end of turn. Whereas the Silica had front 500 assist. So this is another card that is usable in older builds of Sword Art Online, kind of. So the Honorverse Salvage does not have any trait restriction, but the character that you choose for the effect does have to be an anniversary or progressive character. So if you are trying to include some anniversary or progressive characters that are backwards compatible because they don't have any like trait lock funny business, then you could potentially try to run this Kirito alongside those cards. All right, come on, double R, double R, double R, double R, double R, no double R. But our rare is the Game of Life or Death event. So this is the other event that can come secret rare in this set. So the two events that can come secret rare are a Game of Life or Death or Alicization. Both of these using fantastic light novel art. Abeck, obviously a very, very talented artist. I love all of Abeck's art. So Game of Life or Death is a 1/1 event where you can play it without fulfilling color requirements. You salvage an anniversary or progressive character from your waiting room, and then reveal the top card of your deck. And if it is a level 0 character, you get to put that revealed card into your stock. So this potentially refunds the stock cost. And it is also a card that you can grab off of the 1/0 Mito combo, with when she reveals the top the top 3 cards of your deck. You can grab up to 3 characters or Game of Life or Death. All right, last pack. Best case, this is both a double R and level 0 Yu-Gi-Oh! Come on. I'm feeling a double R, guys. All right, it is a double R. It is the level 0 Shinon that we did pull previously. All right, now let's see if we can get Yu-Gi-Oh! As well. Oh, we actually did pull the Yu-Gi-Oh! Wow, our last pack had both the things that we were looking for. That's crazy. Okay, now that we have pulled the Yu-Gi-Oh!, we can talk about this massive package of cards. 5-card package. We'll have to come back to these later, unfortunately, as we didn't pull the Silica double R, nor the Mito double R. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at these, starting with the level 3 Kirito. Let's go ahead and grab his Climax. Here we go, Night Sky Blade. So, the level 3 Kirito is a very simple card by himself. He has on-play heal and Climax combo on attack. If you have another anniversary character and you have the Alicization event in memory, you mill 1 and deal X damage to your opponent, where X is the cost of the milled card plus 1. So this is a very, very interesting ability because it looks at cost and not level. So depending on the way you think about this, this can seem like a pretty bad effect or a pretty good effect. So here's the way I think about it. I like to think of it as a Yo burn that never burns 0, because Yo burn being like the reveal the top card of your deck, burn equal to the revealed card's level. If you reveal a level 0, you don't deal any damage. This one, if you reveal a level 0 or a Climax, you still get to deal 1 damage because the cost is 0 and you add 1. Another way I like to think about it is that it is a Musashi burn that never burns 4. And 4, in my opinion, is like not the greatest number to hit off Musashi. I would much rather hit for like 2 or 3. And so a lot of the time, the card's cost plus 1 is basically just going to equal its level. So like if you mill a level 0, it's usually going to burn 1. If you mill a cost 1, usually that's going to be a level 2. If you mill a cost 2, that's usually going to be a level 3. It's kind of a really weird way to think about it, but basically this card is almost always going to mill 1 or 2 or 3, all of which I think are perfectly fine, especially considering this is a free combo. If you want to be really spicy, you run this with some high-level events like the System Alert counter or the War of Underworld, which is like a 4-cost event, and you can burn for like 5 or 6. That's if you want to be really spicy. Okay, anyways, I'm like rambling too long. I think this Climax combo is pretty solid. It's not the greatest at finishing power, but it does have a lot of supporting cards that go with it. So next, let's look at the level 0 Asuna. So the level 0 Asuna says, during your turn, all of your other level 3 Kiritos get 1500 power and hexproof, and she also has a Union type ability where you can pay 1, rest her, and reveal the level 3 Kirito in your hand to look at up to 3 cards from the top of your deck, add an anniversary character from among them, add it to your hand. So this is a really nice way in decks that run this Kirito to just secure yourself a lot of guaranteed advantage instead of having to rely on brainstorms to hit. All right, next we have the level 0 Yu-Gi-Oh! So this card on stage doesn't actually have the most exciting effect. He has on attack, you can discard a card to choose one of your other anniversary characters on stage and return it back to your hand. Not very exciting. But when this gets reversed in battle, if you have 2 or less memory, you can send this to memory. And while he's in memory, all copies of your level 3 Kirito have the effect where when he gets front attacked, you can pay 2, discard a card, and give the attacking character -2 soul. And if you have multiple copies of the Yu-Gi-Oh! In your memory, you can stack that effect multiple times on a single attack. So this Kirito, like I said, he doesn't have exactly the most amazing finisher effect. It's not like a gigantic blowout effect like some other finishers, but it's solid. And the Yu-Gi-Oh! Lets you play for a game style where you don't expect to kill your opponent with that Kirito combo, and so you can use the Yu-Gi-Oh! Effect to play defensively and try to play for another level 3 turn afterwards. All right, and then the last card that we have in this package is the level 3 Alice and Yu-Gi-Oh! This is a really interesting card. So the last two effects are fairly ordinary. It's an assist 2k, and on play you can sacrifice one of your other anniversary characters in order to heal to stock. And the first ability is the really weird one. So all of your copies of the level 3 Kirito gain the effect where at the end of their attack, you can pay 4 and discard a character to mill 17. And then you deal X damage to your opponent, where X equals the number of climaxes among the 17 milled cards. Now, there's probably some flavor around the number 17 that I'm not aware of, but yeah, this is such a weird card. It does give the Kirito finisher a bit of extra reach, which is always appreciated, since this isn't exactly the most aggressive finisher combo. But yeah, so this is a very, very interesting package of cards. They give you the flexibility to play defensive. They give you a bit of extra reach, depending on which one you want to utilize. And additionally, the level 0 Asuna is also a really, really nice card, boosting up that Kirito for 1500 extra power, and allowing Kirito to survive into the opponent's turn, so you can actually utilize that minus soul ability. So yeah, there we have it for the Kirito package. We're going to go ahead and clean up and get into our recap and just talk about the missing double Rs and maybe a few extra Rs that I think are notable that we didn't pull out of our packs. So we'll go ahead, clean up, be back in just a sec, and yeah, see you guys in a sec. Okay, we're back, guys, with our last 3 double Rs. And so we're going to first talk about the level 0 Alice, and then we'll take a look at these two with their respective associated cards afterwards. So the one yellow double R that we missed is probably the second best double R that you're going to want to be looking out for, which is the level 0 Alice. So she has a Riki effect where on play, you put the top card of your stock into your clock to search your deck for a level 1 or lower character, add it to your hand, and shuffle your deck. And in addition, she also gets, during your turn, plus 1000 power, bringing her up to 25. Pretty respectable attacking number. What's really nice about this card is that it is usable in both the Anniversary deck as well as the old Alicization decks, just due to her effect not being trait locked in any way, and her also having the Fluctlight trait. So for those of you who are looking to play Alicization style decks, Fluctlight decks, you can go ahead and look to pick up this level 0 Alice, but she is just as useful in either one of those two decks. All right, up next, we have, for our third green double R, we have the level 3 Mito. So this card synergizes very well with this level 3 Asuna. Let's go ahead and talk about this one first. So the Asuna says, when she's placed on stage from hand, you can choose up to one character from your hand with equal or lower level than your level and summon it to stage for free and give it 2000 power until end of turn. Usually you're going to want to be using that to summon the Mito. Additionally, all of your other anniversary or progressive characters get 5000 power times level, so she is a global level assist. And during your turn, all of your other copies of the Mito level 3 additionally gain 1000 power, and during this card's battle, your opponent cannot play backups. So she takes this Mito that is normally 9500 power, buff it with the level assist, bringing her up to 11, plus 2k from the summon effect, that's 13. With the first effect, gives her another 1000, going up to 14, 15k with climax, so Mito is getting really, really big and your opponent can't use any backups. Really, really strong. Now the Mito has a very interesting finisher profile. So she is on play. If you have another character with Asuna in its card name, you can deal 1 damage to your opponent, so just automatic free burn 1, and you're pretty much always going to have an Asuna if you're playing the Asuna to summon the Mito onto stage. You're already set to go. And then Climax combo requires another copy of herself in your level zone. And at the end of her attack, you can pay 2, discard an anniversary or progressive character, and then you get to swap the Mito with the Asuna somewhere on your stage, or the level 0 Kirito, which is one that we took a look at earlier. It's this one right here. You can swap her with either one of these cards on your stage, and then those characters get +1 soul until end of turn. So the Kirito potentially attacks for 3, or the Asuna potentially attacks for 4 with the gold bar climax. So her finisher combines both a burn 1 and a pseudo restand, so a lot of finisher potential there. But you are potentially going to be swinging pretty high on the later attacks with the Asuna or the Kirito. For our last double R of the set, we have the only red double R, which is the level 3 Silica. When she's placed on stage from hand, you can look at up to X cards from the top of your deck, where X is the number of your opponent's characters on stage. And you can add 1 card among them to your hand, send the rest to waiting room. And climax combo with a door. On attack, you can discard 2 cards if you have a full board of 5 anniversary characters. If you do, deal 2 damage to your opponent, and then shuffle 2 cards from their waiting room back into their deck. So this could be a pretty deadly combo. If your opponent is low on deck, you can shuffle a bunch of cards back into their deck and get some guaranteed clean damage, so your opponent does have to be careful. Additionally, she does have this very strong level 0 Silica that goes with her. This is a retrain of the level 3 Silica from the original Sword Art Online set, which, for those of you who are veteran Weiss Schwarz players, you guys know that that level 3 Silica was quite the deadly finisher option back in the day. So this one is a level 0 though. So she has on play, you can discard a card to salvage a character with level X or lower, where X is the number of your level 3 Silicas in your waiting room. And she has an act ability where you can pay 1, sack her to salvage the level 3 straight from your waiting room. This is a card that I think is a really strong 2 of or more. In my opinion, I think that if you're running only 1 copy, I think that's incorrect, because the ability to play a Silica to salvage another copy of the Silica and then sacrifice both of them to grab 2 level 3s, I think is a really, really strong line. Just having extra access to the level 3 Silica is always really, really nice. And in any deck that runs the level 3, you're definitely going to want to be running the level 0. All right, so that does it for our double Rs. Now, while we did not pull any SPs or secrets from our box opening, we do have some of those to show for you guys. So let's go ahead and take a look at those. We actually have every single one here. So we have the level 0 Argo. We have the level 0 Alice, level 3 Asuna. I think every single double R comes SP actually. We have the level 0 Lifa, level 1 Yuki, level 3 Mito, level 3 Silica, level 3 Lisbeth. Lisbeth did not get an SP, or did not get a double R, unfortunately, but she did get an SP. We have level 0 Yui. We have our boy Yu-Gi-Oh! Level 1 Shinon, and level 3 Kirito. So these are our SPs that you can expect to pull. Again, the expected ratio per case is 3 SPs per case, and if you get a secret, it would replace one of the 2 SPs. And speaking of the secrets, we do have those 2 beautiful events with art by Abec, the level 1 Game of Life or Death event, and the level 1 Alicization. And these ones, I believe this one is, it has the signature of Reki Kawahara, who is the author of Sword Art Online light novel. And then this one is the signature of Abec, who is, of course, the illustrator. So these 2 beautiful secrets that you could look to add to your Sword Art Online collection. And yeah, just all these beautiful SP cards. And that is going to conclude our Sword Art Online Anime 10th Anniversary box opening. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully you guys learned something. If you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comment section below. And coming up next on the Tressa's Collectibles channel, we are going to be having our deck profile for what we think is going to be one of the top builds of Sword Art Online moving forward in the current meta. Spoiler alert, it's going to have Alice combo in it. And so yeah, stay tuned for that. Until then, this has been Randall, aka Shizukats, on the Tressa's Collectibles channel, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!